Donald Trump is preparing to bail out farmers due to his trade policies with China. This is according to the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, who made the rounds on these Sunday morning talk shows. Now, she claims that these bailouts are needed because key commodities are plunging, particularly soybean and pork exports to China. No shit. We could have told you this was going to happen. In fact, we did tell you this would happen. She went on to say that this threatens billions of dollars in farm income annually, and that her and Donald Trump are praying that they don't need this bailout, but if they do, they're ready to provide it. But it'll be similar to Trump 1, when it was short-lived and cheap. It was neither short-lived or cheap in that first administration. In fact, it went on for more than 3 years and cost the taxpayers more than $28 billion. Now, if you're thinking, what's the big deal? Farmers provide us food, they should be bailed out. These are the same people who are directly voting against their own basic needs. Of the 444 counties in the United States that derive the majority of their income from agriculture, all but 11 of them voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. They voted for what they're getting right now. These are the same people who push their legislatures to vote against free school lunches and push their legislatures at the national level, congressmen and senators, to vote against student loan bailouts. Meanwhile, they're receiving billions of dollars a year in subsidies and bailouts.
Farmers, no, you didn't care when everybody else was gonna get jacked up. He already jacked you up once. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's time for you to sit in your doo-doo that you have made and deal with it. We don't want to bail you out. We don't want our tax dollars going to that. It's going to enough. We have been funding NASCAR drives. We have been funding Super Bowl. We have been funding golf trips to Mar-a-Lago and any other place that this person want to go. We're not doing it with you two. We're just not. And y'all can beg and plead. I don't think that he wants to give it to you either. Period. He wants you to go down. Your business that went belly up. They're going to buy your land up. And some of y'all may end up in the upper room. No. We vote no. No bailout for you. If they're not going to bail us out, you ain't getting bailed out either.
Does a farmer suffer?
That's right.
I mean, some people would hear that.
So more bad news about the tariffs. More bad news, guys. Both of the Subaru manufacturing plants are moving to Japan. They're shutting down their operations in the United States and moving to Japan. They produced Subarus right here and made Subarus affordable to Americans. Now, if you guys are fans of Subarus, like I very much am, the price of Subarus are going to go up because now we're going to be purchasing vehicles that had to be imported back into the United States. It's going to go up substantially. But here's what else is going on. You've got countries like Canada who they love Subarus over there as well, but they are not importing United States Subarus because of the tariffs. They're going directly to Japan to start importing Subarus. And Subaru is meeting a global need. They're like saying, we see what's happening. People are cutting the United States out of the equation. We want to keep doing business and meet the global needs, so we're going back to Japan because we can't be messing with this clown show in the administration. Here's the issue. Those plants will not come back. They will not reopen in the United States. I mean, more than likely, they are gone for good. And we have Tier 2 and Tier 3 auto part manufacturers in the United States that supply parts to Subaru, that they're going to be impacted by this as well. I mean, this is really bad stuff. And just add this to all the bad news from what this clown show is doing with these tariffs.
Donald Trump recently boasted about rewarding America's farmers with a staggering $28 billion bailout after imposing tariffs. Retaliating with hefty tariffs on U.S. agricultural products, farmers are caught in the crossfire. Soybean exports have already taken a massive hit as China turns to Brazil instead. So, while Trump promises to protect our farmers, one has to wonder, is this really a solution or just a cycle of dependency?
Let's talk about the power of propaganda, Donald Trump's messaging, the messaging of his administration, and right-wing media. Yesterday, a Wisconsin judge, like a county level Superior Court judge, was arrested in her courtroom. The allegation, can you say allegation? Do you know what the word allegation means? I don't like to assume, that's why I'm asking the question. The allegation was that she intentionally misdirected 2 ICE agents out of her courtroom a week ago on Friday because they were there to arrest an undocumented immigrant who was scheduled for an appearance in her courtroom. That's the allegation. The allegation was that she did that on purpose to get rid of the ICE agents who were in her courtroom in order to save the undocumented immigrant who was in her courtroom from being arrested by them. That's the allegation. I'm unaware that she has been convicted of any crime. So you allow judges to break the law. Thank you, Paul Marsh. Kitty cat face in your profile photo. So the power of Donald Trump, his messaging, the messaging of Republicans in his administration and right-wing media, is that Donald Trump says something. It's repeated by Pam Bondi, Attorney General. It's repeated by Kash Patel. It's repeated across government by elected Republicans. It's repeated by Fox News and all of right-wing media as though it were fact, as though it's already been proven true. What's another example of this? Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13 because he has tattoos. That's the allegation. The Trump administration has put on literally zero evidence in a courtroom in front of a judge to prove that. They say all kinds of things in the media, but not in a courtroom. Why would that be? You can say whatever you want to in the media. If you lie in a federal courtroom and you lie to a federal judge, if you lie in pleadings that you file in federal court, you can go to prison. So they don't say those things in federal court. They say them in the media. The judge who was arrested yesterday has been charged with obstructing an immigration arrest or something like that. That's the allegation. It has not yet been proven. What would federal prosecutors have to prove in order to prove that this judge was guilty of what they've charged her with? They would have to prove intent. They would have to prove that she sent those 2 ICE officers who appeared in her courtroom, apparently with the wrong kind of warrant a week ago, that she misdirected those 2 ICE agents to a different judge on purpose for the purpose of allowing an undocumented immigrant who appeared in her courtroom to escape. That's the allegation. That allegation has not yet been proven. But Trump supporters, as we know, are dumb and gullible and loud and mean and easily manipulated. And so if Donald Trump says it, it must be true. If Donald Trump says it, the allegation has been proven, as if it were proven in a courtroom with admissible evidence. What is the admissible evidence that this judge did this on purpose for the purpose of allowing an undocumented immigrant to escape arrest by those two ICE officers? I'm asking you a legitimate question. What is the admissible evidence that proves that, other than what Donald Trump has said? Or Pam Bondi, or Kash Patel. What is the admissible evidence? I haven't seen it. They haven't filed it with a court. They've been spouting off about it on Fox News. Pam Bondi's been on Fox News every 3 goddamn minutes saying that this judge broke the law. Has she said that in a federal courtroom in front of a federal judge? No, she has not. But fortunately, the people who watch her on Fox News say that are fucking morons. Case in point. Let me know when you have actual evidence. Paul Marsh.
Tariffs are not going to improve American-made products. As someone who makes hay, I'm going to tell you why. We're in Florida. This hay is anywhere from $19.50 a square bale, right? This is about what we go through it for a horse in like a day or two, to $30 a square bale. Up in Maryland, where we make it, it usually costs us $8.50 to $10 a bale to buy. Because fertilizer coming from Canada is going to be increasing to $40,000 this spring for us, we have to increase our hay prices. So even though we're making the product in the country, we still need supplies from other countries, which makes it so we're going to have to increase prices from $3 to $5 a bale at best, which makes it so that that's the tariff price difference. And so what's going to happen is all prices are going to raise. We saw this with grain in February of 2020. It went up about 33%. Plus, if that price ever gets to there, even if the tariffs get backed off, that's the new price. No one's going to cut their costs because they can make it. And so the grain never went back down, even though the costs went down. And then the profit margin went up for a bit, but then with inflation, it kind of corrected itself. So it was great for a couple of years, but a bunch of people left the industry because it was too expensive. So now you actually have lower demand. And so then you're in a place where, again, your profit margin is about the same. So all we're doing is pricing people out of the horse industry, which I'm sure is happening in a lot of other industries, because all that tariffs do is make even American-made products more expensive because we need supplies from other countries. Whether it is fertilizer or wood from Canada in order to make pine shavings, or if it's that countries get mad at us, so they stop buying our soy and they stop buying our corn that we're growing for animal feed. And so what happens is we end up losing a bunch of fields. So do I not grow hay? Do I grow corn? It's too big of a risk. And then I have to flip it back and forth between the fields. This took us like 3 years to get to. We started making hay because of the risk we had from the original tariffs. So sorry for the rant and rave. I'm happy to answer questions about this, but anyone saying that this is going to help the US industry, I just really strongly disagree, and I think it's going to hurt us more than anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that it is impossible for us to look at this chart and to say that we were not successful. There are major publications in this country that are going online and saying that the African American community is now using their political, their economic strength for social change. And this is an absolutely monumental change in the way that we've been doing things in the past. We need to find different organizations to show that our money has power. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the organizations that contributed to Donald Trump's inauguration. There were approximately 140 people who contributed over $239 million to the Trump inauguration. This is significantly higher than any other president has ever raised, save himself. He beat his own record. So when I initially saw this list, I was kind of pissed. But the reality is people have a right, no, a responsibility to use their money for whatever purpose they feel is within their best interest. And candidly, that's where we are. They have a choice to use their money to make purchases, and they are buying Donald Trump. And we use our money not to support Target. What's interesting is they have a choice and I have a choice. I believe that we need to go to the next level. And the next level is to identify an organization that contributed to the inauguration, knowing who Donald Trump was, knowing all the felony counts that he had, knowing that he was a terrible human being, knowing that he was going to roll back the things that we found that were important. The first organization, I think one of the premier organizations that we need to target is JP Morgan Chase. While Jamie Dimon pays really good lip service to DEI, he has demonstrated with his contribution to Donald Trump that he does not really care about us. The reason I say that JP Morgan Chase is probably a very good target is because of their branch locations. JP Morgan does not have branches generally in Black communities. If there are no bank locations in your neighborhood, the likelihood of you using something like a payday loan is significantly higher. What I want to do is show you where JP Morgan is in terms of its locations, its branch locations by zip code in specific cities. And what I did is I did a heat map to show the concentration of banks in a specific zip code. Let's look at Dallas. This is Atlanta. This is Los Angeles. This is my hometown of New Orleans. And this is the city of Chicago. As you can see, the vast majority of banks, Chase banks, are located in the lighter shaded areas. Overwhelmingly, they are not located in Black communities. The result is, unlike Target, who actually went out of their way to try to get us to become customers, JP Morgan is intentionally, or they would say unintentionally, not providing credit options to African American zip codes in specific cities. Now, if you believe that this is only reflective of these cities, I can promise you tell me a city, drop it in the comment section, and I will do that city and show you that JP Morgan, by and large, does not have branch locations in those cities.
If you want to incentivize Americans to buy American, wouldn't the right way to do that be to actually incentivize them with something positive instead of punishing them for only buying cheaper things that are made overseas because that's all they can afford? You're punishing people for purchasing what they can afford. How about rewarding them for buying American instead of punishing them for not? Now, I'm not exactly sure how this would functionally work, what would have to be implemented to make it to work. But why can't you offer tax deductions and rebates to people who buy American products? Now, months ago, during the campaign, Donald Trump rolled out, tax deductions for interest on car loans built in America. The problem with that is you can't take that deduction if you take the standard deduction, which the vast majority of people in the United States do. And most of the people that don't take the standard deduction already deduct vehicle expenses. Not a lot of teeth to that idea. But if you had a way to offer Americans tax deductions, including the Americans that take the standard deduction, an additional deduction that they could take alongside the standard deduction, if there was a way to make that happen, then you would be positively incentivizing people to buy American instead of punishing them for buying things not made in America. You see what I'm saying? So what if the data of a product, right, the percentage of it that was made in America, right, was somehow encoded into a barcode or a QR code? And on your receipt, if you go to the store and purchase something, and on your receipt, it gives you the percentage of that product that's American. And you are able to realize a tax deduction based on that percentage. Yes, it's complicated and junky, and I'm sure there's a better way to do it, but this is just the early stages of an idea, right? This isn't the final product. This is just an idea. This is how ideas work. This is how they start. But I do think incentivizing Americans to buy American in a positive way is much better than a regressive and punishing way. You know what I mean? But the important part is they can take the deduction alongside the standard deduction, regardless of whether they file a long or short form tax return. And yes, the idea is simple, but the execution may be complex. And that's what gives me a little bit of a pause about the idea. It feels like it would be hard to implement, but with AI and all of the technology we currently have, maybe it's not that hard. Mark Cuban's a tech guy. Maybe he could come up with a way to make this work. Maybe there's already a way that I just don't know about. Just a thought, just an idea. Let me know what you think. Thanks.
Anything.
Happy Sunday, my darlings. And this week, it is technically the first day of the new week, and it is already kicking off with a vibe that I hope continues through the week. Yes, I'm talking about Cory Booker. And yeah, Hakeem Jeffries is there too, but he can kiss my entire brown you-know-what. Cory Booker is hosting a sit-in at the Capitol, darling. They've been there since this morning. Hopefully, they will be there all day. And I hope more people pick up the torch and carry it forward. People need to be everywhere these folks are, every single fucking day. You understand me? Every day of the week, there should be a massive amount of people at the Capitol. There should be massive amounts of people waiting at the golf courses. Everywhere these people are and go, there need to be people there. All right? They're shutting down their town halls. Okay, like, look, I need y'all to activate for good, because some of y'all have figured it out. I've started to see some of these men say, hey, guys, they need us to comply. Are they going to put 5 million or however many millions of people with, like, the student loan thing? If we all say no, they're going to put us all in jail? No, of course not. Like, if everyone just stands up, it doesn't work. The problem is we got to break the chains of these people who are that afraid of separating themselves from everything they know. The amount of people who come into my comments going, well, I would, but what if I get arrested for resisting? Like, oh my gosh, Nancy, they'll put you in zip ties for 5 minutes and then they'll let you go. They're not going to do anything to you. Okay? Like, I need you to stop pretending. Now, granted, if you're a blue dot in an unsafe town or state, I am not telling you to go out there and be the lone wolf. But if you have support, if you're in an area where there is a community and you're just choosing to be afraid of it because when you have the card that needs to be used at this time, darling, like I said, I wish I could trade. Now, in other situations, just for a week or two, I don't want to trade this permanently. I love this, but for 2 weeks, just so we can go make good trouble and clear out this mess. Absolutely. Now, in continued, yeah, this is what they're doing. Grandpa Stench pardoned a red politician for misusing funds that were meant for a slain officer. She took it was like $70,000 and spent it on cosmetic surgery for herself. Grandpa Stench just pardoned her for that. It's so egregious that the one of the papers that he is friends with, very pro Stench, I forgot the name of it because I don't care, I don't read those things, even came out and said, what the fuck is that? You took money from a slain officer's fund to get yourself a new face and a tummy tuck, and the dude in the house went out of his way to pardon that? Yes, they pardon criminals. They pardon actual criminals, not people where it's like, oh, the evidence isn't there. No, they take people who absolutely did what they did and they say, are you one of these? That's fine. And that is what they are perpetuating. It has nothing to do with law and order and criminals and immigrants. They're taking directives from immigrants. They want to get rid of birthright citizenship when that dude is an anchor baby. Their felon king is an anchor baby. Half of his kids are anchor babies. His wife is an immigrant. The dude that they let into all of our information is an immigrant. He sent our information to Ruski. They don't care about that. They care about none of it. So, like, they're so full of shit. This is why I'm calling them out. Like I said, I practice what I preach. I will call you a ZZ. And if you don't like it, then stop being ZZ shaped. All right. Speaking of ZZs, let's talk about the dude who slept his way to the middle, Unky Drunky Petey, and why his wife wife number 3, who was boss number 2. He banged 2 of his boss. So his first wife cheated on her all the time, ended up cheating on her with his boss, left wife number 1. Wife number 2 was his previous boss. Wife number 3, same thing. Cheated on wife number 2 with wife number 3, who was his boss again. All right. Left wife number 2 for wife number 3. So that chick is on all his chats and she's following him to all of his things. It's not because he needs a sober buddy. It's because she doesn't want him smashing Pam Bondi next. That's what it is. Okay. He has a type. It's always a blonde chick. And even though technically that's not his boss, it doesn't matter. The pattern's gonna stick. So that's why his wife is like, I need a security clearance too. I need to follow him everywhere to make sure he's not cheating on me, just like he cheated on everyone else. And again, that's the steeple peoples, that those are their champions. Those are the people they believe in. Those are the folks that are America strong, okay? Those the family values people. That's one of their guys. So on top of that, the department is in all kinds of alarm bells or whatever, like it should have been on day one, but because he keeps using his personal cell for security and clearance things. He installed a private dirty line, meaning it's unsecured, open to hacks. He put Signal and is forcing everyone on those. He's polygraphing people. They're putting people on NDAs. This is government, all right? Y'all said you wanted business and government, and you're seeing it. It's just Mayo Supreme on taxpayer dime. That's all corporate culture is, and you just brought it into government. The man is building a makeup studio with our money while his wife is trying to get access to government secrets so she can make sure that her husband, who is a recorded cheater, isn't cheating on her with another blonde boss. And any price, superiority. This is the era of meritocracy. Sometimes I think maybe we should just all bounce and let y'all have it. Go ahead. Go have it. Go have it. I feel like we need to just let them have no one to point at but themselves and just let them boil through that for 6 months or so. And then we'll all come back and see who's left.
Oh, yeah. Here in North Dakota, we definitely are regretting our votes for Grandpa Tariff. Oh yeah, me and my husband run a seed farm up here, and Daddy runs a soybean farm. And the tariffs are hitting North Dakota harder than almost any other state. Yeah, we're really concerned about it. Last time Trump was president, we had to get a bailout, and we were hoping that this time it would be better. But I'm not seeing any signs that we're gonna get spared this time around either. We had to pick up a couple pieces of steel in West Fargo yesterday, and we asked them if the tariffs had been affecting the prices yet, and they said just talking about the tariffs affects the price. China will start going to Brazil and Africa for their soybeans, and then they'll establish relationships and we'll get completely cut out of the loop. Trump says it's short-term pain for long-term gain. So far in my life, I've never seen the tariffs do any gain for any of us farmers here in North Dakota. I'm not really even sure why we voted for it.
You know what, guys? These fucking farmers, they played us. These motherfuckers had us having sympathy for them. And all the time they had a scam going on. These motherfuckers overwhelmingly supported Donald Trump and put him into office, knowing that they were going to get welfare from him. So now the rest of the country is suffering, and then they come out and they cry about the tariffs killing us, and then Donald Trump write them another big ass check like he did last time. He did this last term. Fuck these farmers. We need to stop bailing them out. If you voted for Donald Trump, you get no bailout. No fucking bailout, because you are the ones that caused this problem. And now you think you're just gonna go laugh into the bank and don't have to do. The farmers are getting paid to not produce. They are the biggest welfare recipients in this country. And we think they work hard. These motherfuckers don't work hard. All they do is collect checks from the government not to produce any product. And they sit back and complain about other people getting food stamps or any type of help from the government, and they are the biggest welfare recipients in the country. We're done with farmers. You voted for Donald Trump, you need to weather this storm. We don't feel sorry for farmers anymore. They played the shit out of us. People were feeling sorry for these motherfuckers, thinking they're gonna lose their farms and shit. And then come to find out this was all a scam from them. They knew what was gonna happen. They knew. That's why Donald Trump was like, he kind of winked and nodded at the farmers, because he knew what he was gonna do. They all knew. They played us. They fucking played us. Now why do they get taxpayers' money for free and don't have to produce any product? While every other industry is suffering. Other small businesses are suffering with these tariffs, but the farmers get bailed out. Why?